of fact that, in view of fact that, in view of the fact that है, in view of the fact that है, in spite of the fact that, दा लगेगा इसमें, with regard to the fact that, in regard to the fact that, in view of the fact that the, notwithstanding the fact that, point of fact, it is not a fact, it is not fact. As a matter of fact, rate of interest, rate of exchange, stock exchange, here and there, here or there, तो आपने पता है देयर के लिए डबलिंग कर देते हैं, और की डबलिंग कर देंगे किसके लिए, देयर के लिए, हियर और देयर. लॉ एंड ऑर्डर, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन, सन लगा दो इसके अंदर, ऑर्डर के अंदर. लॉ एंड ऑर्डर प्रॉब्लम, वेज एंड मीन्स, सूनर और लेटर, एल की डबलिंग कर देंगे, सूनर और लेटर. वर्ड लिखेंगे, रेडी. इन स्पाइट ऑफ, in spite of the fact that, in spite of the fact that the, in view of the fact, in view of the fact that, in view of the fact that the, with regard to the fact that, in regard to the fact that, notwithstanding the fact, notwithstanding the fact that, point of fact, it is not a fact, it is not fact. As a matter of fact, rate of interest, rate of exchange, stock exchange, here and there, here or there, line order situation, line order problem, wage and means, sooner or later. जो आज का सेट है आपको मिलेगा SSC C&D ग्रेड टेस्ट 30 YouTube@100 विद कोमा @80 विद कोमा और @80 नो कोमा. इसके बाद में आपको नो कोमा की कोई फाइल नहीं मिलेगी, आप आगे से विद कोमा में ही फाइलों को टाइप करेंगे. अपने कंटेंट को आप टाइप कर सकते हो, उसके अंदर 220 तक लगभग अपलोडिंग होगी है, वो 528 पूरी अपलोडिंग हो जाएगी. आप अपनी फाइल रेंडमली कहीं भी लॉगिन करके टाइप कर सकते हो, केसी की सारी विद कोमा नो कोमा उसमें सारी फाइल मिलेगी, 528 ही 528. ठीक है, अब लिखेंगे पहले 100 पे, 1000 वर्ड के आसपास, उससे प्लस ही लिखेंगे और फिर लिखेंगे 80 पे. Start it. Mr. Deputy Chairman, I thought I should rise to support the point put forward by the Honorable Mr. Kunjru, but my honorable friend from Hyderabad has said certain things which I had better deal with first. He has attacked more or less the whole system of elections in India. He has talked of indirect election and so on. I am afraid he has gone far beyond the scope of the bill, and I do not think that needs an answer at all. As regards the question of preparing electoral rolls, I think there is ample power vested in the Election Commission to order the preparation of a regular electoral roll if the Election Commission considered it necessary for any extraordinary reasons, such as a large exodus from one place to another and things of that kind. Otherwise, as the honorable member himself said, it is such a vast country and such huge numbers are involved that I think it would be really an unnecessary burden on the resources of the state to launch upon the preparation of electoral rolls every year. The same purpose could be served by revising the electoral rolls every year as per the directions given by the Election Commission as well as the rules laid down for the purpose. In a democracy, one of the prerequisites for its success is vigilance, and I think it would be quite in order to expect the people of various parties to interest themselves in the revision of these electoral rolls. In fact, that is an obligatory task of the citizens, and it only helps to create greater awareness and alertness on the part of the different parties. There was another point made by my honorable friend to which I should like to refer. He referred to false personation. I am not going to deny it absolutely. There might have been some false personation, but to say what it was the Congress that resorted to false personation and that all other parties were paragons of virtue and were angels dropped from heaven is simply absurd. That he should have had the boldness to pursue such a reckless statement, I should say irresponsible statement, without any proof whatever, was wholly unfair on his part to the Congress, and it is no credit to this august house that one of its members should make such an allegation against the opposition parties. Sir, my purpose is more to appreciate the stand taken by my honorable friend Sri Kunjru. I do not know it is for the honorable minister to say whether even now, as the clause stands, it would not be open to the Election Commission to review the order of the Chief Electoral Officer made in appeal against an order of the Electoral Registration Officer. I have an idea that the Election Commission is supreme in these matters, that even when there is an appeal from the Electoral Registration Officer to the chief electoral officer and the chief electoral officer passes an order, though it may be final in the ordinary sense, it does not preclude the Election Commission from revising that order. I would like to be enlightened on this point. If the Honorable Minister in charge of the bill says that the order in appeal of the Chief Electoral Officer over an order of the Electoral Registration Officer is final and it is not open to the Election Commission to set it right, then I beg humbly to differ from such a stand, and I think that a lacuna which should be made up. So I would like the Honorable Minister to apply his mind to this aspect and see that in no case the supreme authority of the Election Commission in this matter, which is of vital importance, is in the least abridged or curtailed. I think a slight amendment to clause 23 would set right the whole matter. There is only one other remark which I wish to make before I conclude, and that is with regard to clause 25 on page 8. It enjoins on every local authority an obligation to make available to the electoral registration officer such staff as may be necessary for the performance of any duties in connection with the preparation and revision of electoral rolls. Well, with the knowledge that we have of these, local authority may fail to make available to the electoral registration officer the staff that he wants. Now, what is the remedy if the local authority does not meet that obligation? If it does not choose to make available the requisite staff that has not been provided for in the bill, it is open to the Honorable Minister to devise some means to meet such a contingency, but I think a clause like this would be very helpful. That will be some kind of an inducement to the local authority to provide the staff. That is all that I have got to say, and I will no longer tire the House. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I am obliged to the House for the general support this measure has received. I would like to clear up one or two points. I would begin by saying that this act, when it was passed and as it stands today on the statute book, is intended only to regulate and control industries. Its purpose is not to take over the ownership of industries. For that, we have got other measures and other methods to follow. The limited purpose here is this: wherever industries appear to be going wrong and wherever, because of the mismanagement or bad management, public interest is affected or production has gone down, in such cases, there is provision for government to take them over for a period and manage them. Now, it has been found in many cases that we have taken over and managed them well. I would like to point out that there are many very good examples where industries which a little while ago were going down have prospered under government management and control, and in this period the government has never used its power indiscriminately. In all these years, 12 undertakings were taken over and then handed back. ये 1000 प्लस वर्ड बोले गए हैं, 100 की स्पीड है, फ्लक्चुएशंस लगभग 107 108 तक की है। ये आपको SSC C and D ग्रेड टेस्ट 30 यूट्यूब पे मिल जाएगा। URL नंबर वही है, 3P स्टेनो वाले पे मिल जाएगा, PP program डॉट steno 18.in पे मिल जाएगा। अब आप लिखेंगे 80 पे। Ready? Start it. Coming to the internal affairs of the country, Madam Deputy Chairman, the policies of the Government of India for the last 60 years have been so manipulated that the rich people are becoming richer and the poorer sections of the people are becoming still poorer. The committee that has been appointed to investigate into the question of the distribution of income has not yet given its verdict, but it is common knowledge that the people who are in the higher ups have become more rich and the people in the lower rung have become poorer. The prices of essential commodities that the peasants and the workers use have gone up so high that they are not within the reach of the mass of the people of the country. Government have not taken adequate steps to bring down the prices and to stabilize the prices as was recommended by the Food Grains Committee. We are now in the 11th plan. While the plans are progressing, the number of the unemployed in the country is increasing. This is a very anomalous position. It is the government alone that can explain why, in spite of the plans, the unemployment problem is becoming more and more acute. As was rightly pointed out yesterday by some speakers, our agriculture has not been paid due attention that should have been paid to in a country where 80% of the people live on land. Some 3 or 4 years back, when Mr. Ajit Prasad Jain was the Food and Agriculture Minister, he was made to resign under shady circumstances as one who had proved not capable of solving the food problem in the country. A suggestion was thrown that the portfolio of agriculture should be handled by an important and senior member of the cabinet, and particularly in the states by the chief ministers of the states. But nothing of the sort has happened. whatever increase in food grains output we have obtained is not because of any increase in the yield per acre, but because of extensive cultivation. More land has been brought under civilization, cultivation, and some irrigation facilities have now been provided. But the increase that we have seen is not in keeping with the demand that is necessary for us to feed 400 million in India. So, whatever industrial development we want, the basic factor is that our agricultural economy should be improved. For that, all efforts should be made, more fertilizers should be used, and new methods of cultivation should be employed for growing more food crops and for growing other cash crops. In a review that was published by the Planning Commission itself, they have pointed out that there is acute shortage of power in more than 50% of the states in India. We have accepted a planned economy. We have completed 10 plans and we are now in the 11th plan. I do not know why the Planning Commission or the planners concerned did not foresee this shortage of power in most of the states in India, and why they did not plan generation of more power so that people will not accuse the same governments or the Planning Commission that they did not work out the plans properly in order to have more industries and to have more food grains produced through lift irrigation. In most of the states, in Andhra, in West Bengal, in Bihar, in Karnataka, there is power shortage. Whatever power is available now is being rationed. There are thousands of units of small scale industries which are not working for want of power. And there are thousands of lift irrigation pumps which are denied power supply for purposes of irrigating their lands, and wherever power is supplied, it is supplied during nights, which is not very convenient to make use of the power and use the power for agricultural purposes. The finance minister, in the statement that he made in the Lok Sabha and which was placed before us, has stated that it was assessed that for the successful implementation of the plan, even after taking every possible measure for the development of our exports, which clearly must be given the highest priorities, we would need external assistance of the order of rupees 2,600 crores, and we have, however, been less successful in obtaining and utilizing the external assistance required for financing the imports necessary for our developing economy. To industrialize our country and to bring it on par with other well-developed countries, we do need assistance, financial, technical, and other assistance. The finance minister was so hopeful that he was getting rupees 2,600 crores of foreign aid from Aid India Club and other countries. But now he is not hopeful of getting that amount which is necessary to fulfill the targets in the third 5-year plan. 80 की स्पीड है, फ्लक्चुएशन 85 तक का है, और ये आपको SSC C D टेस्ट नंबर 30 विद कोमा नो कोमा 80 की स्पीड पे दोनों में मिल जाएगा। अगर आपने कोई भी अच्छा लिखा तो उधर बैठेंगे, सीन डिक्टेशन में डिक्टेशन